Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway because their slogan is Gateway's got it. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome to another episode of The Mom Game. I think this is 71.
Yeah.
71. We've passed the 70 mark, whatever that's good for.
I don't know. Nothing really.
Not really anything. I just was trying to think of something to say, honestly. So we'll move along. We have a very special guest in studio with us today. Actually, two. One of them you can't see. This is Jacquelyn Dahl, and her sweet daughter, Parker, is down here being an angel baby for the time being. But first of all, I want to this is our first time meeting in person. And the reason I wanted to have you on the show, first of all, it seems like you're a really cool chick. It seems like you had a really cool job. And the first time I met your husband, David, who plays for the Rangers. So, we weren't able to be around the team last year. Access was pretty limited, early in the season. And I remember the first time I met David, I don't know if I think we had conversed on Twitter or something. And then, so I was like, God, your wife looks like she did a really cool job. And he was like, my wife is a badass. And I was like, oh my gosh, for a husband, I don't know. I just
perfect first thing to say about your wife ever.
That is really cool. Like, I wonder if my husband's ever said to someone, I hope he has. Like, my wife is a badass.
To say,
well,
yeah, she's a little neurotic, but she's awesome. I heard something like that. But he loves you.
There's so many things that could be said, but I just thought it made such an impression on me. I was like, that's so cute. First of all, he's like so proud of you, and he's like, yeah, my wife's a badass. And so I was like, okay, we got to have her on The Mom Game. And I mean, you just became a mom not too long ago. How old is Parker?
She is going to be 6 months this week.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Where to go?
I know.
It's so sad.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. So give us a little bit of a thumbnail background on you, because I didn't do too much digging, because I really wanted you to be able to. Yeah. I wanted to assume nothing, so you could tell us everything, because I feel like I just want to hear all about this little world you live in.
First off, it's like so on brand for David to he's like my number one fan. That's and so the cutest thing ever. And everyone recognizes it. Anytime he like comes to events with me, like whenever he can, which is limited, but he'll be like taking videos. Like he's like my little social media person. Like,
oh my gosh.
He's the cutest.
Yeah.
So I love that he said that. But no, so I am a sports marketing agent. So people are like, ooh, that's cool. What's it mean?
I know. Well, I know. I mean, I'm a Texas Tech girl, so I see Patrick Mahomes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so. I love him.
I know. I feel like I'm like an honorary Texas Tech grad, but I'm not. I just spent a lot of time in Lubbock because I work with Patrick Mahomes, Danny Amendola. Cliff Kingsbury is like a very dear friend of mine. And
Cliff is a good friend of mine too.
Wait, what?
So yes, I covered Cliff when I was in Lubbock.
Oh.
So yes.
See, I didn't know.
So
this.
same thing, good friends. And like, I know every year, like, I don't know if he's still, I feel like it's been a couple years, but like, I'll get a text and it'll be like, got a new phone. Here's the new number. And I'm like, dude, like every year you have to change
At
phones.
least you're on the list.
Yeah,
you're getting
I'm
the
like, I feel
updated
honored that I'm
phone
in this
numbers.
year. So thank you very much.
I've never felt more uncool that I'm not friends with Cliff Kingsbury on this group of 3 girls.
Okay,
2 out of 3 are good friends with him, and I just lust after him.
Yeah, so sorry.
I mean,
yes, you
never
do.
mind.
Danny Amendola. Yeah, those are all the cool cats
honorary
from Tech.
Texas Tech. No, because the agency that I used to work with represented Cliff and also has some Texas Tech ties. So, so I'm a sports marketing agent. So basically what that means is I don't handle anything on the field for the players, but basically everything and anything off the field is what I'm doing. Marketing, endorsements, social media. So basically if you see Patrick in a State Farm commercial, that was our work.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How does that even happen? Like, how does Okay, because after doing a little bit of research, I saw that you were the founder
Yes.
of this company.
deal.
It's One Up Sports Marketing, is that right?
Yep.
So tell us about the path to becoming the founder of a sports marketing company that does all of the marketing work for somebody like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
How does this happen?
I mean, I've always worked in sports. So you're talking about where your kind of path. I was at Fox Sports San Diego at one point in time. So I guess I can go all the way back to college because kind of that's.
And where did you go to college?
I went to UC San Diego.
Okay.
So I was a tennis player there. Just dying at her little sounds right now. She's sharing. She's like, yes, I want to talk on the mic too. I want to talk. That's my mom because she's always on the phone talking. No, so went to UC San Diego. I basically did every sports internship that you can do to try and get your foot in the door, working lots of unpaid internships. Worked for the Padres, worked for the Astros actually. So that was funny to be back at Minute Maid this past weekend. And then I started working at Fox Sports San Diego and kind of got my feet wet on the media side of things, helping run their social media.
Okay.
And then honestly, like it all kind of came about was I was friends with all these athletes and I was kind of watching how, they have these agents on the field for their on the field contracts that are helping them so much. But there was just kind of like a missing gap that I saw that there wasn't a ton of people, at least that I had ever known of. I was like, well, is anybody like helping these guys off the field? Because I was helping book them for shows on Fox Sports San Diego. I was meeting like some of them had reps, some of them didn't. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I'm like a total marketing nerd. So it's actually a really funny story. One of like the first deals that I ever did, was for Kike Hernandez, who was with the Dodgers at the time, but now he's, with the Boston Red Sox. So I don't know if you remember, this was like, I don't even know what year it was, but it was at a big playoff push. I think it was like in September. And Kike like came out of the dugout and had a banana. And he was like, this is the rally banana because they were down in the game. He's like, this is the rally banana. Like, this is going to get us going. He's like a total goofball and it was hilarious. They ended up winning that game and like the rally banana became a thing. Kike was like the owner of it. And
so the Rally Banana needed some sort of marketing agent.
And I'm just like,
as well as its owner.
Right. So you got this like good looking Puerto Rican player for the Dodgers and he's flinging around a banana. I'm like, that just like Chiquita banana. Okay. So I had mutual friends with Kike, messaged him and I said, hey, like, are you doing anything with this? Like, this would be a really good marketing deal. Some sort of collaboration. And he's like, no, like, but you can, talk to my agent, see like if we can work something out. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go like sell this for you. So I did, ended up doing an endorsement deal with Chiquita Banana. And that was like that was one of the first. So anyways, I was kind of doing things like that on the side and helping guys where I could and girls. And then I got recruited by an NFL agency. And moved to Houston to go work for them for about 3 years. And that's where I kind of really got my feet wet in the industry, like the representation side, because they were yes, it was so exciting. I know. So that's where I got my feet wet on the representation side. And was there for 3 years, absolutely loved it, realized like that was my calling, this is where I want to be. At this point, David and I are getting really serious. And
how did you two meet?
We actually met through a girl that I worked with at the Astros.
Okay.
So her husband was his trainer at API, which is now Exos in Phoenix. And she's like, you have to meet this boy. He's so cute. And then I found out he was 19. And I was like,
And how old were you?
I'm 3 years older than him.
Okay.
So I was like in college and he's like 19 years old. I was like, yeah, that's not going to work out. But then we just started talking and I said, we can talk when you're 21, when you can come to a bar.
Set some boundaries.
Yeah. We can talk when you're 21. So we just stayed in touch.
You can't even go have a drink yet.
Yeah, literally. Well, I didn't know he wasn't 21 because I was in Scottsdale. I was like, hey, I'm going to be, this was when Super Bowl was in Scottsdale or in Phoenix. And I said, hey, like, come grab a drink with me and my friends. And he was just like, oh, I can't. I was like, all right, cool. But like, I thought he was like blowing me off.
So lame.
Come to find out, he couldn't.
He's like,
he literally couldn't.
How am I going to tell her?
Yeah.
I'm sure he was so stressed too about it.
Oh, we talk about it to this day. He was just like, I knew like that was, you were going to be so over it after that.
Like deal breaker.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So that's how we met. And then
So then you all I didn't mean to interrupt, but y'all were starting to get serious, and then.
Yeah, started to get serious. And so I ultimately left the agency I was working for, took a little bit of a hiatus and figuring out like what direction I was going to go, and really just loved what I had been doing and decided to start my own company, which was where One Up Sports Marketing came from.
And what year was that?
That was the year we got married, which was 2018.
2018.
Yes.
So it's still a relatively new company.
Yeah.
What's it been like to see the growth and to do the get her, grab her. I mean, not like grab her like aggressively, like just pick her up. Like shut her up. Grab her, hurry. She wants to make an
Everyone wants to see Parker too.
You had to check the back to make sure there wasn't a blowout. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, she's so adorable.
Okay, you don't need to be scared of us.
Oh my goodness.
She is so adorable.
Oh my goodness.
So
I knew
cute.
it was like
And we encouraged this because this is exactly what our show is all about. Like Jacquelyn has a Rangers husband. She's a badass sports marketing agent that owns her own company. And now all of a sudden you throw a baby into the mix. So when she texted Emily earlier and was like, the nanny canceled. Watch that situation. The nanny canceled. What should I do? I said, bring the baby. This is what this show is all about. Like we literally spent a whole last episode talking about, or with Michelle Rodriguez talking about how to balance career and juggling a child. Because there is no bigger wrench to be thrown into the picture than having a baby.
It's a game changer.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like I was thinking about it on the way here. I was like, I was just thinking about like topics like we kind of talk about. And I'm like, people ask me like, oh, like who do you look up to? Like, and before it was like, career wise, like who do I look up to? Other agents or anyone. And then I was like, Allison Kennedy? They have 7 kids.
That's insanity.
7 kids. And she's pregnant.
Gosh. Oh my
What?
gosh.
She's pregnant. Yes.
Like 8 children?
Yes. And I'm like,
Did they all come
that's
out?
my idol. Like she hasn't lost one.
She birthed.
They all get dressed.
And they just all kind of like, and they've been in the league for so long. And like, Ian Kennedy's wife, Chelsea Desmond, or not Ian, Ian Desmond, Chelsea Desmond.
I love Chelsea Desmond.
Me too. And
they make the most beautiful babies I've
I'm like,
ever.
just call me when their like modeling career starts.
Oh my gosh,
I'll represent them.
those little boys we used to run around our clubhouse,
and they're the sweetest.
They're
like so well mannered,
such good manners.
They're like.
And then once I found out they were having a girl, I messaged Des and I was like, "You are so effed."
Yeah.
You realize? Oh, he was like,
She's
"Oh,
gonna be a stunner."
Oh, I know. He was like, "Oh, she's already got me wrapped." Like the day she was born.
Yeah.
And I was like, "It's because those boys are just well." But I mean, look at them. Like they're beautiful humans.
Humans.
Well, I mean, you and David aren't any slouches. You made a pretty good one right there.
I know. It's so funny. I always thought I would have like a blonde baby. Like, I just thought and when I like imagine, I'm like, oh, like cute little blonde pigtails or something.
But
like,
I feel like,
do you think I could go dark?
No,
go blonde.
Oh yeah. I feel like they all start out dark. I feel like they all start out dark in the beginning.
My second little girl came out. So my hair was like white when I was little, and then my husband has dark, like almost black, like hair.
Okay.
And my second little girl, Anna, when she came out, I literally was like, I was so excited she was born, but I was also like, I wanted her to be blonde. Like I always pictured having a little blonde baby, but so now she's 3 and it's lightened up and she's like turning blonde. So there is hope, and it's okay to wish for a blonde baby. Who cares?
It's so funny. I mean,
we love them no matter
TMI
what.
Story. But like when I was pushing her out, David was right there and he's like, "Oh my gosh, like I can see her head," and I was like, "What color's her hair?"
Stop it!
I did the exact same thing.
Hilarious.
Like, I'm like, well, I want to know, like, what you're seeing.
I did the exact same thing, and Kelly's like, "Sorry, Jules, it's like black."
He literally said it's black. I'm like, what? There's no way.
That's so funny that in that moment you guys are so. I had 2 C-sections, so
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't ever go through that.
I don't know. What else do you ask
I
when
feel
you say
like
you
we're
can see your
kindred
head?
spirits.
I'm like,
I don't know anyone
What
else.
color? Yeah, what else?
What's she saying?
Yeah.
Well, right, and that's the first thing you see is a bunch of hair.
Yeah.
So if you want to know about your baby and what's popping out of there, you got to say what color is the hair. We're not that shallow.
But no,
We just care about our baby's
hair,
birth and head.
color. Yes.
Yeah.
Birth and head. Okay, so you and David, how old were you when you guys got married? Because you're a baby. You're young.
I know I'm 30. Like
Emily does this every time.
David's
Every time I
27.
do.
I'm 30.
Okay.
And we got married in 2018.
2018.
Well, how old was I? I don't know.
Whatever.
You were in
that
27.
was.
Yeah, 27, I guess.
27 when you got married. Okay. So you've always been, it seems like, very career driven.
Yes.
Did you see that ever taking a different turn when you married a professional athlete?
Honestly, no, because for the exact reason that what he said to you, he's like, that he's just like been my biggest supporter all the way through it. And I'm not just saying that, but he truly is like, it's not easy because like our schedules actually are kind of pretty difficult. So when he's in season, I'm also like going nonstop because that's my season too. Mm-hmm. So like commercial shoots and everything because it's the NFL off season. So that's when NFL players are available to do all their shoots and everything. So I actually like just wrapped up with the chaotic season because the guys are reporting for training camp this week. So right now this is like why I'm able to do this today because I'm like, oh, freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough and like it's very different than I would say like the normal baseball family, baseball life, but it works for us.
Yeah.
I think I would go crazy like if I wasn't working and like everything. I think it's also different. Like it'd be different if I was just working like a 9 to 5 that I wasn't super passionate about and like this is like what I realized pretty early on, like I was born to do and why I started my own company. So it would, it's just
like I've worked really hard for this. I'm not just gonna like put it on the back burner because I had a baby. Like why not figure it all out?
Yeah, and the coolest thing too is like my clients are just like so awesome and like Danny Amendola will like call just to like FaceTime and like to see Parker and stuff. Like and obviously like the Mahomes family, like they just had a baby too. So like we're in like the same stages
you have more
of
common
life.
ground with them and that helps. That helps
yeah.
them see you as like a real person and not just some agent person.
That's the way those Red Raiders are.
You know, they're just good people.
We are
Real
good
good people.
They are
the
good
people
Yeah.
from the prairie.
From the prairie.
Oh my goodness.
Good people from the
that's what I
prairie.
said.
Wait, where are you from?
Austin.
Oh, you're so cool.
But I didn't go to
big
UCF.
city.
Where are you from?
I'm from Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm from South Houston, like Clear Lake area. But then was on the West Coast forever, and then found my way
so
back to Texas.
you're an original Texan, so
I
you
am.
probably were okay with the situation when he got
Absolutely.
moved to the Rangers.
Absolutely. Yep, and here we are. We just split up everywhere.
Uh-oh.
It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, it's totally fine.
What are we
It's
thinking?
totally
Do we
fine.
want reinforcements or are we okay? How would you feel about one of our friends here holding your baby or would you rather keep baby?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me
Are we gonna let Ted give this a shot?
Oh, he can do it. He's got babies.
He does. It's been a while. It's been a while.
Hey,
Here. Oh,
hey.
I love it. I'm the same way, or I was when my kids were little. If literally anybody was like, "Can I hold your baby?" I'm like, "Yes."
Oh yeah, have it, please.
You have to right now, especially like not to like go there, but like it kind of when you're in this world, the baseball life, like which is why I say like Kennedy and Desmond are like my idols. Is like you kind of feel like a single mom a lot of time, and it makes you like imagine what being a single mom would be like.
Yes.
Like you're alone a lot. I mean, like David was just on a 10-day road trip.
Yeah. I've said this a million times, and like whenever I MC events where like it's the player, it's like a one off night. It's like a day game. We'll have like our foundation event or whatever that we used to do, the pre-COVID and all that kind of stuff. And we used to do like a different format and I would MC this thing, and the wives are giving up a night off with their husbands to be at this event. And I always would make a point to recognize the wives and the families, because after traveling with the team, I don't even travel once. I'm not 162. I work 100 games. So I end up working about, 35-ish road games and going on those trips and just seeing how what all takes place via my husband at home. You're like thinking about you guys being at home, the wives being at home when they're on the road for 81. It's like,
well, let's talk about that because it's so cool that you recognize that, because I think a lot of people don't and think like, oh, you're an athlete wife, so all you do is you're living the dream, which is, yes, there are a lot of perks, there's a lot of cool things, but you are also alone
all the time.
A lot. And so I, before Parker, I was always on the road. So I didn't really realize it as much, because I'm working so much. So I didn't realize how much alone time. Now that my travel has slowed down, quarantine slowed down travel. What was that sound?
The baby's gone, right?
Is she good?
It sounded like...
That sounded like
that did sound like a giant blowout.
Yeah.
No, it sounded like a giant.
There's no baby
like
here.
a wet fart is what it sounded like.
Why would we be hearing that? The baby's gone.
I think they closed the door. What? Why are you looking at me like that? What?
Was it you?
Was it? You think I just let one loose on the air? What's wrong with you?
It would
This
be
is
okay.
a very laid back show.
Yeah.
It is.
Very laid back.
I'm not blowing my ass out on the podcast. What's wrong with you? Was it you?
Just making sure.
I'm so
It would
between
be
this
okay.
whole
She's literally
prairie
crying
shit
right now.
and
She's crying.
I know.
She's crying, laughing.
It would be okay if you did.
Between
we
the-
wouldn't judge you.
between the prairie comment
Everybody poops and everybody farts.
and then you accuse me. If I let one out like that, take a whiff and see if you could smell it. Because what is wrong with you?
I'm
my
just
gosh.
making sure.
I know.
The question is, are you okay?
I didn't blow
Okay.
my bottom out.
I
You didn't have a blowout in your
No.
little cute jean shorts. No? Okay. Just making sure.
Okay, well, I'm glad
If you do,
checked.
it's okay.
Shut up. I'm not,
Okay, sorry, Jack.
I'm Maureen. Keep going.
good Lord. We have company, and this is how you're acting?
She brought her baby. We're all like,
Honestly,
this is home.
If we make it through this whole thing without Parker having a blowout, I will it will feel like I climbed Mount Everest. I'm not even lying. I made it here a 40-minute drive. So it's her signature move.
Well, and don't you there's different stages of their poop? It's
Yes,
remember the
right.
mustard seed?
That's all I got.
And
It's
yellow.
Well,
Wait till
we're
they
still
eat corn.
breastfeeding. I'm
The
still
corn.
breastfeeding, so
yeah.
it's very much that.
Okay, there's a this is a great segue to breastfeeding. But
Yes.
so I nursed too for so I'm stop laughing. So I toted this is my proud mom my badge of honor.
Yeah.
So I carried 7 pounds of breast milk around Game 7 of the World Series in St. Louis.
That
in
is a
20.
hell
Hell
of a
yeah.
badge
That's
of
can we
honor.
just
Yes.
I mean,
Cheers.
I've never been so proud of myself because that shit's like gold. And so I was pumping, and we had the whole Game 6 got pushed back.
Yeah.
It was a giant mess, but I carried 7 pounds around.
how?
Did you have a
I had
Yeti? Like a cooler?
Mhm.
Yeah.
like a bag cooler, and I put all of it in there, and we were going straight from the game to the airport home. It was Game 7, win or lose, you're done. And so I had to take it literally
you're not
lug
leaving
it
that.
around with me.
Gosh.
Okay, but I did hear that FedEx has this thing where they will ship breast milk for free.
Really?
Yes.
Well, they didn't have that shit 10 years ago. would have been really nice to know. But yeah, back to the whole, baseball wise, I think probably professional athletes' wives are very much stereotyped. I've always said too, I feel like maybe it's working women, non-working women. I feel like there's a lot of stereotypes that fit into that. But like you said, for me, I think about that being a full-time mom, not having an outlet, not having a job, and that makes me want to hyperventilate, and it terrifies me.
Sweating, I'm thinking of it.
Yes. But I also have mad respect for those women who do that. And that's their calling, right? I mean, because we all
Totally.
have different callings.
To each his own.
Yeah.
It's,
To each his
it's
own.
difficult either way.
Yeah.
But do you feel like sometimes you miss out on things that some of the wives are doing or whatever because you do have a company
definitely.
to run?
I mean, 100%. I'm not at many games. I'm not getting to do all the cool charity events and things like that. Now, that I've kind of sent my kids off to training camp. Now I'll be around a little bit more, but yeah, I mean, I miss out on things, but then, it's all about balance, right? Like life in general is about balance, and something I'm still trying to figure out, because it's almost like I need that like social interaction too. Like these are the whole baseball wives thing or athlete wives thing is really interesting, because you are basically put in this group of women and they're like, here, be friends with these girls for the next 6 months.
Right.
Totally all different walks of life.
Yeah.
All different walks of life. And I'm not saying I'm like a pro at it or anything, but it is fun to just, be with them and get to meet all the girls and everyone. There's some who are like 20 years old, some from the Dominican, some who are Allison Kennedy, who's a freaking gangster. And
7.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then the weirder, so my husband, like we talked about a little bit, he's on the coaching staff for the Stars. So I'm alone a lot with the kids, and I get the whole wife side of it because I'm around the hockey wives, and I'm kind of one as well. But another thing that's weird, it's like, it seems like the moms and the wives will form these like real good, genuine friendships, and then boom, somebody's gone. And then someone else comes in and no one knows that person. And then boom, another person's gone. And it's just like these interchanging pieces, which I think would be really hard as well, whether you're a mom or not. Like, how hard was it? I know David went from Colorado to Texas, right? And you just kind of never know how to plan and what to expect. How hard is that whole aspect of it?
Yeah, I'm a newbie here, right? So like that's another aspect, is like, not only am I a new mom, so I'm not around as much. I'm also, working a lot, so I'm not around as much. So the girls in Colorado like knew what I did and understood that I wouldn't be around as much. Some of our dearest friends, I mean, Mally and Trevor Story are our best friends, and like still to this day, regardless of what team we're on, we're still very close. And a lot of the girls that we came up with, because David was drafted, when he was 18 years old, and came up with all the same guys, Ryan McMahon, Trevor Story, Kyle Freeland. So like that was our family. Like forever. We all moved to Scottsdale. We all like got houses near each other in Scottsdale. So we'll still like remain close and everything, but it definitely is interesting. Like, had I have this new baby and I would be going into spring training or something. If we had been in Colorado, I probably would have felt a little bit more comfortable. Like, oh, here, Mally, take Parker, blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm just walking up.
But
like,
you can't do that to a complete stranger.
Yeah, but they're all already holding her. So like,
it only takes a game or two.
Yeah, exactly. No, but that is the good thing. What I was saying is like, coming from all different walks of life, like regardless of what your background is, the one thing that we all have in common is that we're all kind of going through this together. And, the guys are on the road like, hey, what are you doing? It's Saturday afternoon and the guys are on the road, and are you doing it? That's the one thing that's really cool. And I think, helps make those friendships.
And for so many of them, that's their only like network, because you just get plopped into this city where you may have never been before, and then it's like, oh, hey, live here, and then oh, by the way, your husband's going to be out of town the vast majority of the time, and when he's not out of town, he's going to be at the ballpark for I don't know, maybe around 12 hours. It's just it really is, and I have such respect, and I'm sure it's that way in all sports, but you're talking about a 162 game season. I have such mad respect for baseball wives that it's off the charts. I mean, because what you guys do to me is insane. I mean, it really is. Like, I mean, we have a hard enough time with me traveling, 30, 35 games, and I tee shit up for my husband really good, but I still have mad respect for what he does, because he's got a full-time job as well. But I don't think people. Yeah, I imagine I don't think they process that. They just look at the paycheck, they look at the lifestyle, whatever, and they're like, well, you're married to. It's just like everything. It's just like with athletes. Well, look, I mean, they're making 13 million or whatever, and I'm like, you don't understand. Like, that's not it. Like, that's not like Rougned Odor. I mean, he just stopped playing when he got that contract. I'm like, that's not it. He wanted to do even better after he got that money, because he felt bad for not playing well after he got the money. It's just, people have this very distorted view of professional sports, and I mean, and for that matter, entertainers, basically just people who make a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing, like the great equalizer, whether you're a professional athlete or a wife of a professional athlete, it's like mental health, right? I don't care how much money you make, or I don't care what your paycheck is. If I'm sitting here alone in a brand new city and just had a baby, and that baby's screaming and I need to go to work, I don't have anybody to call, like, that's hard. And it's hard for the athletes as well. So I think Emily and I both totally get what you're going through. And that being said, like even more grateful that you were able to make it in here today.
Honestly, it's cool because like what juices me and like what gets me excited is like talking about it and talking about work and talking about the life. And like, honestly, like when you're sitting at home breastfeeding for like 8 hours of a day, like you sit there and like talk to yourself quite a bit.
Yeah.
So like, and I think when I was pregnant, like, I don't think many people like warn you about that, like that alone time.
It's
like
just
isolating. So isolating.
Yep.
You're like all your friends, going to dinner, especially with the first one, right? And so I've kind of been able to recognize it. Like I'm a very, very strong-minded person. And this past 6 months has been like the biggest challenge, like talking myself out of like, okay, you're fine. Why are you crying?
Right.
Yeah. It's
Where did that come from?
I think that just I
And hormones
cry
are all
really
off.
weird shit. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not a very I'm not a very sappy person. Like, I'm not really super sentimental. But like weird stuff, I'll just start crying. I'm like, why am I crying?
No, David. We always joke that David's like the sensitive one of the family.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, suck it up, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, which is good and bad. But no, it's been the weirdest 6 months, and like finally, like talking to other girls about it, talking to my sisters and other baseball wives too. It's like not only do you have this like explosion of hormones coming at you, but you also are by yourself a lot and trying to navigate it.
And your
not
life
to mention
has completely
like
changed.
There's ups and downs of baseball too. And like so when David gets home at night, like you try and just like suck it up because he's had a tough day too. So there's
There's a
trying to
lot.
have like a pity party or anything like
but
that.
I think we all get it, and that's the
Yeah.
kind of thing we talk about on this show.
Yeah. But
Because
how do you? Yeah, and this is so how do you separate? And I feel like the women that I've gotten really close to over my baseball career, like Susanna Moreland and Jenny Lewis, Sandra Beltre, that they've done a really good job of, and their husbands have done a really good job of really keeping things separate, like not bringing work home. And I think that's probably something that's valuable regardless of what industry you're in. But I feel like in sports, it's way harder to execute.
It's very hard to execute.
Yeah.
and it takes time. My husband's on the coaching staff. He used to bring it home all the time. I'm like, look, this isn't going to work. If every time the Stars lose a game, you're mean to me or you're grumpy, like this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And it took time and it will take time, especially I'm sure it's harder when they're kind of just really trying to establish themselves in the game and in the sport.
Totally. Yeah, with David, like he doesn't get grumpy or mean by any means, but like he'll be quiet and like I know he wants to talk about it. And like the thing about like the good thing is like I understand because I work in sports, I know hitting, like I listen to him all the time. He literally is obsessed with hitting and swing. Like I think like one day like I could see him being like a swing coach like down the road because he's just like so obsessed and he watches video and video and video. So he'll get home and he's kind of quiet and then I'm like, you want to talk about that second AB, right? Like you want to talk about that. I know you're mad. Like let's talk about it and like let's just knock it out.
Should have laid out that inside.
Slip him a note, be like, yes or no. Do you want to talk about the second at bat tonight? Check yes. Check no, and I'll walk away.
Yeah. So there's that. But now I will like shift that with Parker. It's just like a whole different story. Like he's just like so excited to get
Can
home.
snap out of it easier if there's a baby there.
The other night in Houston, I finished up work last Thursday in Kansas City. Flew here to Dallas, and then he was like, "Can you come to Houston? Like, I would really love for you guys to be here." And I said, "Sure." So I flew to Houston the next morning with Parker, and then he got home from the game that night, and I think he went over, and Parker was asleep at like it was probably like 11 p.m. by the time he got home. He goes, "Can I hold her? Can I wake her up?" I'm like, "Yes, you can hold her."
It's your favorite
child. I know. Yes, that's so cute. So it just like made him feel better. So yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
It's changed everything.
They do
Change everything.
Okay, but we do want to talk a little bit more about your job because it is cool. Being a mom is hard, and I'm glad we got to talk through that because that is important to the fabric of our show here and what we want to talk about.
And your motherhood experience should be easy from here on out because of the conversation.
Yeah, we
just
filtered
had.
through
Yeah.
it.
We feel like we've imparted all the knowledge we have, splicing
The
between
knowledge.
Julie accusing me of farting on the air.
on the air. It's just our show. It's not a big deal. I think the wisdom we've imparted or that I always say, it's just like ask for help and do what makes you happy. And you're doing that with your job.
Yeah.
Because with both of us, like our jobs make us happy. And that's why we've clung on to them.
Yeah.
So once I want to know, first of all, like, so you're in this sports marketing world and you realize this is something that you love. It's hard to start a company, like, and to go out on your own and to not go under the umbrella of somebody who is dealing with all of the business side of things. What, I guess, inspired you, and how were you able to start your own company at that age?
Yeah. I mean, obviously a lot of it has to do with David. David was like, do it. Like this
was post like.
Yeah, well, we were together and he, you know, I was leaving the company that I was with and like absolutely loved like who I worked for. It was based in Houston and David and I were moving to Scottsdale. So, you know, it was like, I knew that was what I wanted to be doing. And I kind of found myself like consulting for brands as well. And I was like, okay, so, you know, what could be this middle ground between like supporting the athletes, supporting the brands. And I also, you know, just wanted to be like kind of a voice for athletes in general. Like athletes were like texting me and DMing me like, hey, like, should I post this? Should I do that? David's teammates were asking me like for advice. I'm like, I'm kind of good at this.
Right.
So like,
and that's needed because social media has just blown up.
Yeah.
Athletes can get whatever message they want out there on their own now, but but you don't really want them to go rogue.
Right.
Right.
Do not want them to go rogue. It's totally okay to be your authentic self, but just maybe like think before you tweet. That's always been my rule of thumb. Or if you have to think about it twice, then don't do it.
Or text you and make sure you approve.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
If you're texting me, it's probably a good indicator that you shouldn't post.
It's funny. I have this like group chat with a few girls that I work with and we call it the draft room. It's a group chat called the draft room. And I'm like, this is what I want to tweet.
Yeah.
And we don't tweet it.
I love
we
that.
probably shouldn't. So it saves in our drafts.
Everyone needs a text string like that. Like I've got one with like 6 other girls, women who do MLB, you know, and have been for a long time. And we rail on situations like and whatever. It just vent. Yeah. And it's like people who know can identify, like, you know, it's being able to have like that common thought stream.
Yes.
And to be able to air it all out is a beautiful thing.
It is a very good thing and probably saved us all.
For
Honestly.
sure.
No, so I kind of found myself just being that resource. And ultimately I was like, I can keep rolling with this. Like I keep doing this, like regardless of like, I can't go to LA and work for a different agency. Like I want to be with David.
You need to be able to be free to travel.
And it's interesting because like a lot of baseball wives are like, oh, like I really want a job that's remote. Like I don't know what to do. And I like heard that a lot. And I don't know. Ultimately, like I knew eventually I wanted to start my own company. I didn't know specifically that I was like only going to be like representing talent. I thought maybe going in like the consulting world, like brand, social media, but it's like what I'm passionate about. Like I loved helping the guys. And I think that it's, you know, at that time, there wasn't a lot of people like me, certainly not girls doing the job. And I kind of thought I had a little bit of a knack for it, like that I understood because I'm married to an athlete.
Exactly.
That I know, like, I'm not going to blow you up after you just went 0 for, I'm not going to blow you up on a game day situation. Like, I understood, like, yes, like, he wants to be with his wife right now, or he wants to be with his girlfriend. Like, not going to, you know, intrude on their space.
There's a way to work around all that and still get things done.
Yeah. So I think that, you know, just all these different, like, avenues that I had been down on top of, like, my personal life, it just worked out that I, you know, like I said, this was like a calling and what I knew I wanted to do. So, and it was also just very helpful that like 5 months into starting my company, like Patrick called me.
That was my next question. How do you get Patrick Mahomes on board?
I mean, that's a great question. He like, you know, he was having a great year in his MVP season. And he kind of just decided that he wanted to add to his team, realizing that his brand was continuing to grow. And he has his, you know, on-field contract agent who's awesome. And he just wanted to add to his team because he knew it was about to get really big, really
He's
fast.
like, I need someone to help me.
Steinberg Sports.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, he literally, I'll never forget, like I was wedding dress shopping with my friend. And he called me and said, hey, like I'm looking to add to my team. Like, and you know, Danny and everyone has talked about you and da, da, da. And, So kind of just worked out from there. I'm like, let's ride. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Oh my gosh. Amazing.
And literally a month later, we were at the Pro Bowl, and a week after that, he was winning MVP, and it was kind of up from there. And then obviously, like I'd become friends with him over the years, and I had become friends with his now fiance, Brittany, who is just like one of my dearest friends too. And so it just helps when you have that personal relationship with someone, and they've heard word of mouth from other athletes, like what you do. And honestly, like, all I've so far, like it's been all referrals for like the guys that I work with. So,
and that's everything. Like it's like with my job, relationships are everything. I mean, it's that's that. I mean, you don't have anything if you don't have those, and it takes longer with. I feel like with professional athletes because they're so on guard. You know, they're wondering what's your angle, what are you trying to get here?
Yeah.
You know, like especially from a media perspective, it's like. You know, you can't, I have people ask all the time, like, how do you develop those relationships? I'm like, the first thing you can do is you can't force it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and there'll be guys that aren't interested in developing like a relationship, friendship, or whatever. They don't give a shit about their public persona. That I mean, as far as like, you know, like Mike Minor would be like, I hate talking to the media. Hate these.
Like life is good. I don't need to bring you into my life.
Yeah, he's like, but I would always joke with him. I'd be like, oh, who's ready for an interview? You know, whatever. You know, meanwhile, like his wife and daughters are like adorable and sugar sweet, and he's like, I hate talking to the media, and I'm like, I appreciate that though, right? Like I appreciate his.
Real.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that he told me he couldn't stand talking to me. I thought it was kind of amazing.
But going back to that, I think that like you're talking about building relationships, right? Like it's so important, like that David knows who you are. And, you know, we were, you know, really close with Jenny in Colorado. Like that just like that to me is just invaluable. Like that, you know, and understand like our life and our, like, you know, what can get him talking. Like, and you're like, hey, let's talk about Jacquelyn, because clearly like you like to talk about Jacquelyn, you like to talk about your daughter, and you like to talk about your dog.
Exactly.
So let's talk about
Here
that.
we go.
And that just like gets them, you know, gets them loose. And then obviously you've got to get your baseball questions in too. But
Jenny's on my text string. She's one of the
love
ones.
her. Love her.
She's such a stud.
Oh, I want to know who all is on that text
She
string,
is
because like I
such
feel
a
like
stud.
I know so many, like
Julia
Alana.
Morales.
Okay.
Oh, Alana.
Alana is-
so
okay.
it's Alana, Julia, me, Sophia, Jenny, Jody Jackson. Oh my gosh, who am I leaving out? Amy G.
Okay, see, like all the
San
coolest
Francisco.
ones.
It's like we're kind of like we call like Sophia's like the only like really young one. Like we
Yeah.
kind of like the OGs. Like
Yeah.
you know, and we call her Peanut, like because she's like Sophia's just like this little tiny. She works for the Brewers and totally adorable. But we're kind of like all old ladies, and then there's Sophia.
That's fun.
Yeah,
well, it's fun because only so many people understand what you all are going through and what you're dealing with day to day.
Well, we always like screenshot like DMs that we get and stuff, like really like weird. Like I got a DM today that was like this whole long story about how he's always wanted to get a picture with me, but every time he saw me, he was with his girlfriend and she wouldn't let him take a picture with me. But that relationship is over now. And
so now he's free to take photos.
Yeah, right. So I'm like,
Hey.
this is so awkward. Like,
Y'all should do
Anyway.
an entire episode of just like reading through DMs.
Oh.
I almost thought about creating like an Instagram account of like LinkedIn messages I received.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I could contribute.
Yes, there's some good ones. Like when a creep comes through LinkedIn, like they don't come just like with a one-liner or anything. Like it's a paragraph. It's a paragraph.
They're selling.
Like,
They're selling.
They're applying for a job
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. Oh my gosh, people are
So,
bizarre.
I know.
Okay, so when you're working with Patrick Mahomes or whoever it is, tell us a little bit about what it actually is on a day-to-day basis. You're on site for do you start a marketing deal from beginning to end, travel with them, make sure they know what to say, what to do? How all does that work?
Yeah. So I'll give a story just because it's like fresh off my brain, because we just launched the campaign last week for Head and Shoulders. So we were at an event, a Super Bowl event, like 3 years ago now, or no, maybe, 3 years ago is his rookie season. And this is actually interesting. This is when we were just friends. Like this is before we even worked together. And I was at the Super Bowl event. It's like a networking event. I call it the speed dating NFLPA event at Super Bowl. And our friends from the Head and Shoulders team, which was, the P&G team, they're like good friends of mine. I said, hey, I want to introduce you to Patrick Mahomes. Like he's going to be the next face of your brand. And this is before, before he started, like he had the hair.
Yeah.
And
He had the hair.
Yeah. I was just like this. And this all came from Cliff. Like Cliff had told me like, he's going to be the dude.
Yeah.
So I introduced him to the Head and Shoulders team at this event. at that point he hadn't started a game yet. So like they were like, oh, okay, cool. Like
thanks.
Rippy, like nice to meet you and everything. But like they definitely like were like, yeah, he definitely has the look. But we haven't signed talent. We worked with Troy Polamalu and we worked with OBJ, but I don't know what direction we're gonna go moving forward. Well, that year he went off and became MVP, and so Head and Shoulders was like, hey, what's up?
And they were like, oh no, we're good.
Yeah, no, they were believers for sure from the beginning. So from that point on, we just started talking through ideas and concepts and
so fun. So I want to go there to that meeting or like any meeting. Are you pitching ideas about like what Patrick wants to do? Are they saying what in a perfect world the commercial would look like? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different for every athlete. And, sometimes I'm outwardly pitching him and going to them. Like, for instance, Head and Shoulders was talking about not working with talent anymore. Like, we're going to go a different direction with our NFL partnership.
Because I'm sure it's expensive for them.
It's expensive. Like, it was, like, hard to, like, top Troy. And I was like, well, interesting enough, like, Patrick's, like, whenever I first met him, I said, what is your dream partnership? And he said, I would love to be in a Head and Shoulders commercial. Like, I think I got the hair. Like, I loved watching Troy growing up. And I told Head and Shoulders that, and they were like, well, we should bring them back together, like him and Troy, like full circle for him. Yep. So since then, the campaigns have been the two of them together.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, every deal is different. Whereas like, I'm talking for Danny Amendola, like he, interesting enough, his demographic, he has a very strong female following.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I can imagine.
So we worked with, there's the Old Spices of the world are very like manly brands, but we did a deal with Nivea, which was like much more female focused, but because his audience is predominantly female driven, it worked well for them. So we actually did a spot with Danny Amendola and Adam Rippon, which was like the funniest like set I've ever been on, the figure skater.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was
I bet that is hilarious.
It was hilarious. Locker room scene, like it was great. So yeah, it's just different for every athlete, and because I work with Patrick's fiance Brittany as well, and she has become a social media superstar, like fitness trainer. So that's been really fun for me because she like it's a whole different realm, whole different like spew of brands that I get to talk to and work with. Very like female focused brands. She's obviously a new mom as well, so I'm getting to work with mom brands and getting to work with pet brands because she's like huge with her dog. So it really just depends. Like So
you're doing. Just those two right there could probably keep you so busy.
Yeah.
Because they're both so huge, and then you still have how many others?
So Danny Amendola, Julian Edelman, Bradley Chubb, with the Broncos. I work with Brandon Cooks and then Kike Hernandez, who I still work with. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And the biggest superstar of them all,
David Dahl.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say no. But him too. He's gonna hate that.
I thought you were gonna return the love on that my wife's a badass thing and like do him a solid.
No, I
teed you up for that.
I could go down. No, Jackson Mahomes.
Okay. So tell me, and I follow you on social media.
Yeah.
So what is Jackson's story?
He is the light of every single room. He is absolutely hilarious, and he makes me laugh more than anyone.
Y'all are like legit besties. How old is he?
He's 21.
He is.
Yeah, and he makes me feel old every single day. He lets it. I literally was talking to him the whole drive here.
He does look like so much fun.
He is so much fun, and the funny thing is, he's 6'6", so like
he's giant.
He's been to like a few Rangers games with me, and like it's honestly like difficult walking around with him because kids are obsessed with him because of TikTok. So he's a TikToker. Yeah,
Man, seemingly it's
yeah.
real. It's a
I
real thing. We're very hesitant to the TikTok here on the Mom Game,
I said,
but we're trying.
I'm trying to do that one, that fancy like.
I think it's very niche, like
it is right
because I saw it happening. I saw the TikTok world blowing up, and Jackson like hadn't found his niche necessarily. And I said, you should get on TikTok. Like, I'm just gonna like put this out there. Like, I think you should get on. Like, I didn't know a ton about it at the time.
Wait, how long ago was this?
This was 1.5 years ago.
And he's taken up in that.
Well, honestly, I think TikTok a lot. I mean, obviously, like quarantine, like opened TikTok up to everybody. But before it was like so niche. It was like the Vine world, the YouTube world. But now, like we're talking about it right now because I think because of quarantine, like people Everyone was getting on it. But yeah, so I also represent him, and he does a spew of brand deals also.
Sure.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I would love to like go have a drink with him.
Oh, let's go.
I think
he
it
would
be
love it too.
So much fun. Like
Yeah.
he just looks fun. Like just
He's
from
so
your
fun.
and I don't even follow him on so I just follow you on social media and I see him all the time and I'm like, he looks like a great deal of fun.
Yeah,
like I think
he
we
is.
could have
he
a
like
fun
dancing?
happy hour.
What's his?
So he started out doing like the dancing and everything, and he will laugh at that I say this. He was so uncoordinated. Brittany and I would like joke about it all the time. I'm like, bro, like you're like we've got to work on it. Like let's go to like a dance studio or something. And then he kind of just like he's just really good at like following the trends, and that's just kind of how it works. And then he kind of became known to like doing these TikToks on the field before games, and so it was
cool.
like.
You're
Very much like
whatever it is,
yeah.
we'll make it happen.
Well, it helped
becomes
too.
your
Like
thing.
the NFL, everyone was like, "How do we get into TikTok?" All the kids are doing it. So here you go. Here's Jackson
There it
Mahomes.
is.
Like here is your intersection between like this young pop culture TikTok world, and he also has ties to the NFL. So
It's crazy how huge it's gotten. And I'm sure a lot of the athletes who are maybe on the second half or towards the end of their career are like, what is this? Like, why would I need to do this? But there's probably somebody who really knows that's like, you need to do this.
Yeah.
Figure it out and learn that dumb dance because it's going to help you.
Julie keeps pressuring me to watch The Bachelorette and do a TikTok.
I know.
And it's stressing me out.
She won't
That's
do
a lot.
either.
It's a
That's a lot
it's
to
a
ask.
lot.
I know.
The
I don't
Bachelorette
do
and the
TikToks,
TikTok.
but I feel like we should.
I found a TikTok I think I could get behind. And
Okay.
it's that, I forget what country singer it is, but it's like, girl, we fancy like Applebee's on a date night with the Bourbon Street steak and an Oreo shake. And
She's
the
like, I
whipped
think it's
cream.
this song, but I know every word.
No. So I watched a TikTok and I sent it to you. And then I downloaded the song. And I'm like, these are the most ridiculous lyrics to a song I've ever heard.
It doesn't even matter as long as you
Fancy
can
like
dance.
Applebee's on a
the
date
lyrics
night with a
don't
Bourbon
matter.
Street steak with an Oreo shake and some whipped cream. I
sounds
was like, what?
disgusting.
But you memorize it. But
Loved it.
Okay, let's
Love it.
talk about that. How it's blown up like so many artists.
Yep.
Like how cool is that?
Yeah.
I will say like yes, I encourage people to get on TikTok. Sure. Because it's done like wonders for some people, but it's also like very much a creator platform. So if you're not down to like sit there and create the content in app, like it's not that easy. It's not like you can repurpose your content from Instagram and just post it on TikTok. Like you have to create like whatever. It's not going to work unless
You have to focus on TikTok, like, in
it's
a way?
TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think some athletes have tried to get on TikTok, but they're just like taking their content from Instagram, putting it on TikTok. It's just not going to perform well. Like that's not what it's
Right.
for. And plus like the audience on TikTok isn't looking for like football highlights. They're just not. They're looking for like funny football screw ups or something like, or obviously dancing like Juju Smith-Schuster. Perfect example. Football player who can be a TikToker. Done great. But I don't think it's for everyone.
Well, it's funny when I work at the ticket too, and we've had Mark Cuban on a few times, and he'll be like,
his daughter is a big TikToker.
Well, he's and he's like
friends with Jackson.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I haven't seen her on
Yes.
TikTok.
They're like
Yes.
TikTok buddies.
Oh
They're
yeah,
TikTok
no, they have
beds.
meetups. Like they don't. Yeah, it's a thing.
Like
he's-
in real life?
Oh yeah, real life meetups. Like this
Wow.
is like
It's a
let's get
huge
together and
thing.
collab.
And we joke about it, but like
collab.
Mark Cuban will say, and I feel like this
We're
really.
so old.
We're collabing right now.
I've worked that word into my repertoire because so many kids are saying it. Collab.
Yeah, collab.
But Mark Cuban will say he's like kids and teenagers or whatever, they don't sit down and watch a basketball game from beginning to end. Like they don't have the attention span. If you want to put it into like quick highlights, then they'll sit and watch that. I think they created Mavrello, their weird like digital logo guy, just for kids and just for
was so
something.
weird.
It was so weird and he's creepy, but like he's trying to target that demographic and that audience that I think a lot of owners may be like, what?
What the
Like,
fuck? Yeah.
So I feel like he's on to something, like you're
100%.
saying.
Have you guys
It's
heard
like,
of the buzzer?
No.
Let me plug it real quick.
Plug the buzzer.
Yep. Yes, this is time for plugs
Yes,
and
plugs.
shout outs. There you
Yes,
go. Whatever you want.
100%. No, Bohan, he was at Twitter for a really long time. One of the most incredible people is started a company called The Buzzer. And it's basically a platform where people can tune in to buzzer moments. So it's
Walk off home run.
Yeah, walk off or no, like more like someone's throwing a no-no, right? Like someone's
okay.
so we're
Like
like
you
in
need
the
to know.
six and boom, you get a notification, tune in to watch Verlander as he's,
Oh, wow.
throwing, in the sixth.
Is it is it an app?
So it's an app, but the good thing is it's not competing with the networks, because if you say someone is, subscribed to, has AT&T TV or something, and that's where they watch their cable. So it doesn't cost you money if you have your cable like plugged into your phone, and it's like, okay, this is free because you get this channel anyways. So it's really interesting, and it's huge because exactly what you just said. No kids are sitting down and watching a full game. So how do we keep them engaged and keep that like, it's this like quick hit social media presence of like, oh, we're watching a highlight video of LeBron James and like the crazy stuff he's doing, and I'm watching it 10 minutes after it happens because they're all watching it on Twitter. So it's just kind of like bringing all those worlds together of like how you can like just watching sports in a different way in those buzzer moments. The NBA is already on board, so they have the rights with the NBA.
The game is changing, like just to cater to younger people. It's like
things are moving so quickly, and I am not.
I know. Well, Red Zone was a thing because people just wanted to see.
It's like that's a great comparison.
They wanted to see the important part of the game, and they only want to see somebody that's about to score or somebody who's about to stop somebody from scoring. Right. And so that's like the buzzer, it sounds like, but for all of sports.
Yeah. Well, right. Well, I mean, they're working on it. It's very new.
They have to get everybody to buy in. Yeah. Well, I like it.
It's very cool. Patrick is an investor, and I'm kind of helping in a role as well. So
awesome.
it's a really cool company on the rise. And just Bo was part of the negotiations with getting live sports on Twitter. So like it's real. Right. Like it's something it's happening. So like either get on board or like you're gonna get left out.
Get left in the dust.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So this is the stuff that
I know.
learned a lot.
I think we're in the know. Like,
okay,
I'm gonna be like, have you guys heard about the buzzer? I mean, did you download the app yet?
Like, you're not on the buzzer. Like what?
And I think just to backtrack, like this woman who has just told us all of this is doing this with a 6-month-old, which is just so freaking awesome.
True. I thought you said something else.
I did too. Yeah. What did it sound like I said?
What?
6-month-old.
Yeah.
Like a 6-month-old. You can see why it's so hard. It's like you're so good at this and doing this and created this company and are just killing it and have a little baby, and the baby's over there with someone.
I know, random stranger.
What's his name? Ted. So we should probably let you go.
I know. Well, Jacquelyn, I am so glad that your husband told me you were a badass.
Because we agree.
Then finally, like 6 months later, it's culminating here. And so I'm just so glad to finally meet you.
Yes.
Tell the rest of the Rangers' wives that I can't see that I would love to speak with them at some point in time. I know, it stinks.
It's weird.
I know. I think it is, I know, it's so weird. It's
in my little draft rooms text is what we were talking about the other day. It's like work has like been really hard lately because all the rewards of our crazy industry is like that we get to see all of our friends at some point, like at Super Bowl events and different things. Like this year, it's gone a whole year without seeing any of these people. And it's just like, gosh, this is a lot of work, and like where's my little perks of like getting to see my friends and stuff. So
no stars Christmas party, all the things that like I look forward to being like no Christmas party, like no games with the family room where we get free wine and food. It's all gone.
I know.
It's like, how much do you love your job?
Free wine and food.
I know, seriously.
I'm like, you know what, the wine's gone, dude, we gotta look for something else. But no, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck with everything. We're here for you.
We'll be following you.
We're here for you if you need anything, if you need a babysitter, if you want to come pump more plug anything for your company or bring an athlete on. I don't know. We can pump them up.
And now I have someone to call if I don't ever make it on the cut list for Cliff's annual text on.
Yeah, text Jack and be like, what's Cliff Kingsbury's number?
I know. God, I love Cliff so much. It's
Me
so
too.
hilarious.
And he's just like so nice, but also so. Oh wait, I have a Cliff story real quick on David.
We've got time for a Cliff story.
It's actually so it was Super Bowl 50 in Houston, and I was running around like a crazy person, and David like was getting to experience Super Bowl with me for the first time. So he's like at this party with all of my clients, and I'm still like at an appearance or something with a client, and Cliff is meeting him for the first time and hanging out with David, and he like. Once I got there and said hey to everyone, and Cliff pulls me aside and he goes, your husband is just like the nicest person ever. He's just so sweet.
Aww,
and I was just like, Yeah.
I know.
That's
This
a
is
great
why,
thing
like,
to have said about your
I
husband.
know.
That is
And
a
it's like
great
we're
thing.
like very like total opposites.
Yeah.
So it's like, what does this make me?
Yeah, what is this? Like, he's so nice.
So nice. How did y'all
Like,
end
how
up
did this
together?
happen? That's so funny. Yeah, I love Cliff. I'm so happy for him in Arizona.
Yes.
I mean, Tech was driving him into the ground. Like, I mean, it would be like after this, I'd be like, you need to eat a cheeseburger and take a vacation. Like, you're like, this is not healthy. This is
He's
not
in a
good
much
for you.
better place
Oh,
now
and
in the
so much. And
sickest house in Scottsdale.
Oh, I know. And now doesn't have to recruit. He doesn't have to. I mean, it's
Just be the guy.
Yep.
Just
I'm so happy for him.
coach.
Yep. He's a good
Yeah.
dude. He's a good. And he's smart as shit. I mean,
Smart as shit.
very
First in the
smart.
door, last to leave, obsessed with the game.
Yeah. How's his dad doing? Have you?
Good.
He's
yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I
And
love to see
I've like
Oh, and Cliff said he remarried, and
yeah.
she's great.
Yeah, I'm not positive. I'm close with his sister.
Okay.
And I think they were actually going to come to a game this week.
Yeah.
But anyways,
His dad was always so sweet. He was
Yeah.
around a lot.
So-
I know.
yeah.
He was so sweet.
Well, if you talk to him before I do,
His
tell him
dad
I
is
said
the
hello.
best.
I will.
I just
sure.
love.
Shut up.
I'm just trying to pretend like I know.
Well, I
Cliff
mean, I didn't
Kingsbury
think you
too.
would want to talk about it since we're just from the prairie. You know?
I just have to dumb it down somehow because I'm super jealous.
Prairie. Okay. Okay. This was great.
I know. I didn't. I talked to her.
I know. We have
Oh
an empty
no,
wine
Jacqueline.
glass.
Okay, she's got.
Cheers. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Cheers.
Yes.
Thank you
fun.
so
Thanks
much.
for having me.
Yeah,
Congrats,
thanks
I
for
feel real
coming.
cool.
Congrats on being a badass. We sign off every show with the original, very
Double
original
peace
double
sign.
peace sign, and we say "Mom game out." So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Mom game out. We got it.